Hello, everybody. First of all, my name is Wiktoria Morawska and I represent the University of Wrocław in Poland. And I'm very happy to be present at today's conference with such fantastic speakers. Hello, everybody. Today, I will give a lecture entitled Methodological Challenges of Research on the Inequalities towards Women, Promoting and the Continuum decision of decision dependency, of course. So let's start with the introduction, then move on the next slide. Let's go. Okay. The aim of my presentation is to present to the next stage of my research of the phenomenon of continuum of decision dependency using the potential of combining subdisciplines. Economic sociology, of course, because it's the main discipline, but also the trend of feminist analyzing of the economy. Together, they can be used to analyzing and eliminate the social inequalities. The possibilities of this area of study are discussed in the context of own research in the intellectual phases of the second stage of my project, of course, data collection and analyzing, which will then be used to develop a methodology or also a recommendation for the future. This project is based on the belief that social research not only contributes to the increasing scientific knowledge and understanding to social reality, but can make a real contribution to improving people's well-being. For me, it's very important, and also is a small dream about social science. As a result, the presentation I aimed at combining a multi-level analysis of the economic process with the decision-making independence of specific women, drawing from the assumption of action research, feminist and active orientation, as well as a transformative emancipatory model also. So maybe let's move on the next slide. However, I will start from the beginning with a description of the situation of women in the modern world, and the position of women is very different now. So it's a very complex topic. It can be described as a formation of two separate groups where at not end of the scale there are so-called promoted successful women with the signification market opportunities. The second is occupied by women from the lower social classes with small business opportunities, often poor, sick, independently raising children, or working in the occupations with the low added value. So it's the different side of the one scale with the big differences in the life of these two types of women. In simplified terms, these two groups can be divided in a significant reduction way, according to the typology of professions, where on the one side of the scale there are women using advanced technology and knowledge, specialist professions, for example, like a scientist or people from the IT area. And on the other hand, this working in the service professions that are labor intensive. For example, women working in shop or in this type of work. It's a service professions. Okay, so is the main point of this problem. So let's move on. As a result, women are described in the various way in the public discourse. Of course, is the second way of this topic. In the media discourse, as well as in the pop culture, the issue of equality and the so-called gender gap Topics such as the presence of women in politics and also in company and organization boards, increasing in the participation of girls in the science and women's involvement in programming, engineering, as well as the very important issue of gender pay inequality. Is there a lot of topics in the media discourse, and we see this topic in the media discourse, and also is in school or in university, when the perspective of participation women in the university or school life is also important in the discussion. Also, it is related to period of publication of reports such as the Global Gender Gap Index or Gender Equality Index, and also Women in the Work Index or Gender Balance Index. A lot of index which are popular in the media discourse, also in internet, for example, in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So it's an important part about in this discussion of the women life and women position in the contemporary world. In addition, you can separate the area of advertising in which the phenomenon of the femme advertising, because femme advertising is clearly visible, often referred to as a feminist advertising. The first of this term was the first used in the 2014 on the Chinese lifestyle portal, and to this day, also in science, is used as a term to identity marketing message that to some extent question gender stereotypes common in culture. This appeals to the both body positive advertising campaigns that dealing with the topic of the self-acceptation, and also including on the first campaigns of this type of Dove's campaigns for the real beauty from the 2004. I think you know this type of this campaign with a lot of different type of women. This was a popular advertising, and also and in recruitment campaigns and employment, which are a consequences of the implementation of the equality policy. Ads of this type become a form of communication aimed of making women feel empowered to overcome the problems they face in life. However, what is important in many cases, it is a poorly marketing form, the purpose of which is so to catch talent. In the context of this media discourse, it can be added that its reception in society is very positive. An example is the fact that women from the so-called generation of millennials are more than twice as likely to work in the brand that created advertising in the femme advertising type, which on the one hand motivates organization to such a marketing strategy, and on the other clearly points to the professional needs of modern women. At the same time, along with the noticing gender inequalities and numerous social campaigns, the image of the successful woman who breaks through the glass ceiling and ranks as a fully equal with men has established itself. Such an image can be seen primarily in movies or, for example, contemporary TV series. This is especially true of women who have achievement or are close to achieving the things generally believed to be associated with success. However, this image seems to be harmful as it distracts to the public attention from the various challenges that this group of women faces. This results not only in the lack of media interest in the inequality of women who are promoted, striving for success at the top of the social structure, but also lower compared to women at the other and the other end of the scale, interest of researchers. As part of my private scientific work, I undertake a critical study of the subjectivity and decision making independency of young women, believing that the unendably within gender equality and equality in the case of promoted women is not a complete and a close process after all. So it's part of my study also. Maybe now let's move on the next slide. Now we know that the situation of women is very diverse. So, how to study contemporary women? Honestly, I ask myself this question. This topic is very difficult. So, first of all, we must remember that research on contemporary women has many dimensions. It's so complicated topic, and the complicated research also. Secondly, it's worth using interdisciplinary methods and remembering about the ethic of research. Ethic is so important. Third, when distinct research, we can choose which type of modern women you are researching. For example, we are researching type of women which is maybe more successful, more in the highest level of social structure, or maybe different type of women. It's a totally different dimension of social perspective, social structure, and dimension of women's life. Okay, it's a short question, but a lot of perspective for answer. But it's a really complex topic and really complexity question. Okay, let's go on the next slide. The main conclusion is a complexity of the problem of allocation women in the semi-peripheral country, like in Poland. It's a country, it's my country, and as a result, the need to adopt different research methods than before, because we have a new world. The complexity results not only from the economic changes after the communism in Europe, the strong polarization of the economy, but most of all the polarization of the position, the gender group of women, and the differences in the situation of women and the men. The presentation presents the first result of my research at the second stage of the project on the identification of barriers to the allocation of promoted women in the social structure and the continuum of decision dependency. Okay, it's all for me. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your attention. It was nice to deliver this lecture. Many thanks to the audience and the conference organizer, and thank you so much.